Welcome to Ruminations and Revelations. My name is Keena and I am your host for this podcast episode. Today I'm just going to jump right in. I got a few things I want to talk to y'all about. First of all, let's talk about this here scenery. All right, we got the lake going on in the background, the trees, the lovely breeze. I was unsure about recording here in the shade versus over in the sun, and I think I'll be happy with my decision. I'll live with it either way. Let me get my water. Because I'm already like, the voice is cracking a little bit. So let's jump right in. So I had a dream last night about like that I died. And in the dream, I knew in advance that I was going to die. So I was like running against the clock, trying to make arrangements with everything and everyone before I died. And for whatever reason, I guess maybe in my dream, maybe I knew that even when I died, I would still be able to be around and present. I just wasn't going to be able to like interact with people, right? And so, I was, again, like I said, I was running against the clock. I was trying to do things. And then when I died, I was still there. I was still there. I was still seeing everything and everyone, but I just could not communicate with them. Like, I was trying to guide them and tell them things that I knew would be helpful to them, but they couldn't. I could not, like, I would try to like grab things to move out of their way. I would try to tell them like, oh, you just have to do this, but I couldn't grab anything. My hand went through it because I was a ghost. I could not tell them anything. There was no way that I could communicate with them. And I could see so many things happening in my dream, that I knew that I could have helped or fixed or solved or resolved or guided. I knew that I could do those things. Okay. And so when I woke up, I was like, dang, I got to make sure that I do all the stuff now, while I'm alive, while I have the chance to make a difference. I was like, man, there was things that I had that were like secrets that I kept because I was waiting for the time, right? Things that I was like embarrassed or ashamed of, or that I was worried about people judging me. But when I was dead, it didn't matter. Okay. So like I said, when I woke up from my dream, I was like, man, like I shouldn't, there's no more time for me to tell my stories. There's no more time. Like when I was dead, right? When I was dead, I was like, oh my God, there's no more time. I can't write the stories. I would have been happier to write my stories, write my books, put out my publications or whatever, and let them not be good enough to me. Let them be imperfect, but at least be out there, rather than keeping my mouth shut my whole entire life. And then when I'm dead, now I can't go back. There's nothing I can do. Like I could feel that. And I walk around every day feeling a level of that, right? That's the reason why I do the things that I do, is because I do feel a level of it already every day, of the intensity of that knowledge. Like, man, Keena, when you're gone, there's nothing else that you like. You can still make a difference when you're gone, but you can make the best difference while you're here right now. So make the difference, do the stuff, even if it's not perfect, even if you know that later down in life you're going to grow and learn and change, because every day you're growing and learning and changing. But just still do the stuff now, because even if, like, because in my dream I knew that I was about to die, and so I was like, let me get these things in order, let me tell the things that I need to tell people. I tried to make plans with people, like, okay, now when I'm gone, I'm gonna reach out to you like this, but I couldn't even do that. It didn't work out the way I thought it was gonna work out. So then I was like, oh my God, I hope that somebody goes to a psychic so they can communicate with me. Like, that was what I was thinking in my dream when I was gone. It was like, don't let it happen, and then be later down the line have to figure out what to do to make do with what you got when you got it all right now. You know what I mean? So just do it now, even if it doesn't seem good enough, even if you're worried. I was like, just do it now, Keena. So here I am, hours later, recording this episode, because I'd be like, I wake up with the message every day. Every day I wake up with a message. I don't know who it's for. This was for me for sure, but it's probably also for someone else. So do it now. Even if you don't think you'll be satisfied with how good it is, I'm guilty myself. And I have still more regret whenever I wake. Oh, there was an ant crawling on me, y'all. I should delete that. That thing was big, okay? That's the one thing I don't like about when I record outside is like there be bugs and like I understand that the bugs has their place and position, but I'd rather us coexist in our own spaces rather than you know what I'm saying? And it's always the ants, man. I always rather that we just coexist like separate but equal. You know what? Plessy v. Ferguson. I want that for me and the bugs. Okay, so anyway, that's the dream that I had. And I woke up with a freaking urgency. Now I want to tell you another thing next. So the next thing that happened after I woke up from my dream, when I got on my phone this morning, I woke up early. So usually I go to the gym at a later time because that's when they have childcare, and it works out with my child's school schedule. I take my son to school and then I go straight to the gym for 45 minutes, and then I come home and I eat breakfast, and then I start working for the day. Today my child was staying the night, not at home. He was at home. He was not at home last night. He slept elsewhere. I'm making it sound all ambiguous. But anyway, my baby wasn't home last night. He had a sleepover or went to one. And so when I woke up early from that dream, I looked at my phone. And when I opened up my phone, this is why it's important to manage to curate your timeline with the things that align with and resonate with your lifestyle and your goals. I woke up this morning, I looked at my phone, my timeline, and it was a video of somebody working out, like doing something that I'm not interested, well, maybe that I wasn't interested in doing today. They were like doing ab rollers. They were working out and they were using the ab roller and a resistance band. It spiked my curiosity. I was like, dang, I should do a core day today. But I'm going to go to boot camp and do whatever boot camp has assigned for me today. So I got up. I was like, oh, it's 6:25. I can go to boot camp at the early class. I can get to the 6:45 a.m. workout. So I got up immediately, used the bathroom, put my clothes on, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and headed right out the door. Grabbed my water, and then went straight to boot camp. Arm day was arm day today. It was arm day. I don't love arm day, but I do arm day, and I definitely get the arm day gains, baby. You feel me? If you on virtual, you see me. I mean, if you're on the video, you see me. I do arm day. Look, check out my shoulders, y'all. Check out my triceps. Check out my biceps. Like, the arms is arming, okay? And I don't eat meat either, just so y'all know. This is homegrown through training. Showing up even when I don't want to show up. Even when I don't feel like showing up. I would say I gave I probably was like about 90% on my workout today. The music just wasn't doing it for me at boot camp today. I wasn't a fan of it. I did go and put my headphones in because I wasn't feeling it, but the music does make your workout, and so does the vibe and the energy. Going to the 6:45 a.m. class, I'm telling you all the things that I didn't like, but I want you to know I still did it. I didn't like the music. I wasn't feeling the vibe of the 6:45 a.m. crew. They don't turn up the way the 8:30 crew does. So, and my friends were not there with me, but I still went and hit my workout, came home, plugged my nose and drank the freaking protein shake, and then came out here to the park to record this podcast. And my first client hasn't even arrived yet. I still got plenty of time till my first client arrives. So I did a lot of things already today. And so, yes, the vibe matters, but the vibe should not prevent you from taking good care of yourself. All right, because these were the things that I did this morning to make sure that I can take care of everybody else who I got to take care of today, so that I can be a good thinker, so that I can have the energy and the strategy and the ability, the willpower to execute the way that I am intending to execute today. Okay, we'll see when y'all see this episode. We'll see when it comes out. I am trying to get in the practice of not editing the episodes unless I have sponsorship, because if I have to edit them, I ain't gonna put them out. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't putting it out. All right, so that was the next thing I wanted to tell y'all about. While I'm here, I want to tell you this. The way you talk to yourself, it definitely matters, okay? I was thinking about this last week when I was in the gym. It was a crazy, beastly leg day, all right? And I was doing some RDLs, and I was tired. But you know what I said? Like, I was tired. And so I know the way that I vibe off of people and the way that people vibe off of me. If I look to my left or if I look to my right, the person next to me is giving up. Subconsciously, I'm going to lose a little steam, okay? So we was doing this hard freaking workout last week. And I felt like I could not do another freaking RDL. So I said to myself, Keena, you got this. Let's go. And then I went, right? And I did more than I thought I could. The second time in the gym, that same day, we were on the floor, and I hate hamstring curls, but I never skipped them. We were on the floor doing hamstring curls, and they were so hard. I hate hamstring curls, but I like building up my hamstrings. I hate them so much that I had to look online to see what's the point of hamstrings. And, you know, what I read about the benefit of having strong hamstrings, it convinced me to continue to train hamstrings. Doing the hamstring curls, and I looked around, and we were all struggling, sweating, out of breath, 1 minute to death, maybe 30 seconds to death. And I looked around, and I was like, we could do this all day, right, y'all? It's too easy. This is easy. And so, do you think I finished that set? Absolutely. You're right, I did. So, I'm telling you this because 2 weeks ago, I was coaching a mother who was at her wit's end with her child. And I was giving her some affirmations. I was giving her some sentences, things to say to get her mind to the place that she wanted to be. You know, because of course with coaching, it's like you're trying to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Who's calling me? Oh, I'm gonna have to call you back, girl. We're trying to close the gap between where we are and where we want to be, right? So the mother was at the wit's end with her daughter, but of course we were having the conversation because she's trying to come to a better place of relationship with her child, right? And that's work. The mother-daughter relationship in itself is very complex, multifaceted, and it requires work. Not to take away from any other parenting dynamics. I'm a mother of boys, all right? So you might take mother-daughter, mother-son, you know, whatever, father stuff, whatever. But as a daughter, I'm telling you, like, listen, I understand the complexity. So when I was speaking to the mama, I was giving her some affirmations, some mantras, things to say to help her to get to the place she wanted to, like, words to speak to get her to where she was trying to be. Something along the lines of, like, I believe, like, we're gonna have a stronger relationship. I believe that I can get through this. It was something like that. I gave her like 3 things, and I was like, listen, if you just say it with me right now. I'm going to say this sentence, and I just want you to repeat it. She was so paralyzed and stuck in her current reality. She didn't even want to say, just to say the sentence. Say the sentence. She wouldn't even say it. First of all, she was like, there's no point in me saying it because it's not true. I don't believe it. Like, there's no way. It's never going to get better. Now, she's telling me this, but we're on the phone. We're on this call, right? Because she's looking for guidance. But still, part of her doesn't believe that it's going to work. And I get it. I understand. So I'm like, okay, just say the sentence with me. You don't have to understand how. You don't have to really in your mind see it, but if you just say this sentence with me, it will create different pathways in your mind for you to have awareness and access to more possibilities. I had to beg this mama to say the sentence, I believe we're going to work this out. I had to beg her to say the sentence. And then she finally said it. And I just waited. I said, how does that feel? She was like, it feels like nothing, because that's what I'm feeling. I feel like nothing. And I was like, okay, well, say it with me again. Say it with me again. And I had her just say it with me 4 or 5 times. And then she tried to change the subject, but guess who's running this? I'm leading. All right, so I brought her back. And, I just explained to her, like, the reason why you're doing this is so that you can believe. Even if you don't believe right now, even if it's too hard right now, you say these things, it will make the load lighter. It changes the chemistry of your mind. It changes the makeup of your brain. Right now, your brain is at this place of, I'm ready to give up. It's too hard. Everything sucks. We're never going to like each other. We're never going to build this relationship. I might as well give up now. There's no way. And I'm like, how do you know there's no way? Like, do you even have a vision for what the relationship with you and your daughter can be like in 1 year and 5 years? Like, give me a picture of what it would look like. What do you see you and your daughter doing together in a year's time, in 6 months' time, in 5 years' time? When your daughter's 21, what do you see you and her doing together? Okay? And she was like, I don't see anything. Right. So let me help you to create a vision for what is possible for you and your child. Let's work it out together. Can I help you? And so then she allowed me to help her. And it's a work in progress, right? It takes work. But even the most stubborn or resistant or defeated or overwhelmed or crippled or stuck of minds can be changed. And I know this, all right, from my own life, as well as from all the people who I've been able to help unstuck and guide throughout life, okay? So, you don't have to take my word for it. You never have to take my word for it, but you might want to take my word for it on this one, okay? You might want to. So, the next thing I was thinking about, all right, these are all going together. We're on a flow. I don't actually have a final destination to deliver y'all to. It was just a series of things I wanted to talk about today. But they all kind of flow into the next. So let me talk about the next thing I was thinking about that I've been ruminating on, has been parenting and leadership. So I had a previous career as an executive leader for a company. I ran 2 different size teams. I had my core small team, and then I would also lead a larger team on a weekly basis. Every week I would have my core team and then my large team, my core team and then the large team. And then I would work with my other co-executives, and we would lead the leaders. And then through the leaders, we would lead a really large team, and we would get a lot of stuff done. All right. And this was in the realm of sales and whatnot. So we were getting the things done, of course, to drive sales. So, I know that before then, of course, because when I was in college, I got my degree in psychology. I wrote my research was about discipline, parenting, and spanking. That was my thing in college. That was the main thing my research was about discipline and spanking. So if y'all want to talk about it, we can talk about it, okay? Because I converted myself through my research to not be physical with disciplining my children, as well as all the different ways to be more intentional. And I understand why, of course, through the research, I understand like the effects, the long-term and short-term effects of raising your children and not putting your hands on them in order to discipline them. I consider that to be very lazy parenting, and also not effective. But that's for another discussion, okay? That's not what I'm here to talk about right now. Right now I'm here to talk about parenting and leadership. So I was already, let me go back in time. When I became a mother, I was 15. So I can't say, I'll be lying if I said when I was 15 years old, I was an intentional parent. What I was when I was 15 years old was learning. I took parenting classes since before my child was born. I was in this program called Early Head Start. In Early Head Start, I would meet with my family advocate, I think every week, if not, I think it was like every week. I met with my family advocate, maybe every month. But at any rate, I met with my advocate every week, and she would always give me education. And again, at this time, when I was 15, I did not believe in not putting your hands on your children. I believed in spanking. This is how I was raised. And if you ever want to talk about like how do you, if that's what you currently are doing, and then you want to not do that anymore, there was no books for that, you guys. There was no references. There was nowhere I could go to figure out to go from here to here. There was either you spank your children, and a lot of Christian teachings teach that. A lot of very conservative teachings teach that. And then there's the no spanking. You either start with one or the other. There was no references for how to transition from this to that. I had to figure it out myself, and it is a process of figuring out, not like a process of like easing back on the whoopings. You just choose not to whoop your child anymore. But then my biggest question was, well, how do I discipline my child? And then it was like, okay, I'm no longer disciplining them. They are being raised with structure and guidance. So it is a different mind state to raise your children differently. Discipline is more, I feel like it's more around control. Even when I think about how I practice discipline in my own life, right? If I'm like, I've got discipline, that means I've got control. Rather than that, I have structure. And so structure leaves way for making mistakes, room for growth and improvement. Discipline is kind of like you either got it or you don't, right? Control, you either have it or you don't. You don't kind of control something. You either are controlling it or you're not, right? Structure, guidance. Structure is like, here's the shape, right? Here's the structure. It could crumble, right? It could be solid or it could be weak, but it's there. Are you following it? Are you using it? Right? Guidance, same thing, right? Here's the guide. You can go outside the lines if you want to. You might not like it, but you are empowered and able to make your decisions, right? And so for me as a parent, I had to figure out the difference between those two, and the difference between punishment and consequences, right? And using my language, my words, being more of a leader than a lazy parent with leading through fear and control, which is more along the lines of whoopings, spankings. It doesn't teach your children to think if you just whoop them. Because like for me, I was whooped as a child, and I thought I really did sincerely believe that was how you raise your children. I said we weren't going to get into this, but I'm getting into it. I really thought that was how you're supposed to raise children. I really, really like in my bones believed if I don't whoop my child, I don't care about him. Because that's how I was raised. Okay? I was raised in domestic violence, right? And so think about your sensitivity levels to certain things. I had a high tolerance, low sensitivity I had a higher tolerance and a lower sensitivity to violence. So was I abusing my child? No, but some people could say yeah. You know what I mean? I was proud that I whooped my kid, and then I went through the process of rebuilding the trust with my child, because you have to do that too. If you're no longer going to spank them, then you do have to rebuild trust with your child. Yeah, I'm gonna write a book about it. Okay, when I write the book, buy it if you really want to get into it. And there are a few authors who did help me to understand the significance of not putting your hands. There are authors, of course, in my research who I found, but again, I did not find any resources for bridging the gap. I had to figure that out on my own, and I help people do that now. And I'll write a book about it. Hold me to it, okay? Hold me to it. All right, let me keep going. So, parenting and leadership. In my leadership position, I started to ask myself, am I becoming, because in my leadership, as I was growing in my leadership, I was growing in my parenting, right? And I'm like, man, I was so pumped when I would have wins at work or at home. because I'll be like, oh my God, as a mother, I can do this with my team. Oh, I'm communicating like this with my kids and it's working. Let me try this with my team. And then and then when I would do things that really worked with my team, I'll be like, oh, that really works with my team. Let me go home and try that with my kids. Right? And so I'm like, all right, do you consider parenting to be leadership? And I want to know what you think about this, because I think that parenting is leadership. But then my question is, are great leaders also then great parents? Or do you have to be a great parent in order to be a great leader? Or do you have to be a great leader to be a great parent? And if you are a parent and you're not a leader, are you still a great parent? I just want to know what you think. What do you think? Because of course, I am what's the word? Biased. I'm biased because I am a leader and I am a parent. Look, and I recorded a show a couple of years ago that said, who am I to tell you who I am? So you don't have to agree with me and believe that I'm a leader or not. You don't have to. When I say I'm a leader, it's because that's what people tell me. But let me say that. That's what people tells me. All right? It's something about the essence and the way that I walk into a room and people be like, I don't know who you are, but I want to listen to you. I don't know who you are, but I want you to tell me what to do right now. Like, I don't know who you are, but I know that there's a way that you can help me improve whatever is going on in my life. This is what people be telling me, y'all. Like, I am proud of that. Like, it makes me feel good because that's a huge ant. Because I feel like if people are seeing this in me, they're like, then maybe that means that I'm walking in my God-given talents and strengths, not just my God-given, but also the things that I've worked on in my own life, and then it's reflecting out and it's shining on other people, and I feel like I'm being at my best when people are really seeing and reflecting these things and naming things that they see about me or in me and stuff like that. Does that mean I'm doing a good job at being aligned? Is that what that means? I don't know. But all I know is I'm biased about parenting and leadership. I feel like parenting is leadership. But that doesn't mean that you have to be a parent in order to be a leader either. I'm not saying that. I do think, let me tell you why though. I think that if you are a parent, I think maybe you do have to be a leader because you have to lead your children. You got to guide your children. You gotta deliver them to the promised land, right? Maybe when you have children, you're making a promise. What is the promise that you made when you had children? I'll tell you the promise that I made. It wasn't. I don't even know. I'll tell you when I first became conscious of a promise that I made was when I had my second child. Okay, so after I had been a mother for 10 years, was the first promise that I'm currently conscious of. No, I take that back because it was when my first child was 6 months old. Okay, I made lots of promises, and I've kept them too, because when I was a kid, my dad lied to me a lot. And so it became important to me that people keep their promises. So I made a promise when my child was 6 months old. KK, my oldest kid, was 6 months old, was that I was no longer going to fight. I used to fight a lot. And then it basically came down to, I had just beat up this girl, stomped her to the ground, and robbed her. And he was with me when it happened. Like, I handed him to my friend. And I said, hold him. And then I beat the girl up. Stomped her to the ground, robbed her, and then we ran before the police came. When I got to safety, I was like, oh my God, what if I went to jail? What if I would have got caught and went to jail? Then who was going to take care of him? He would not have got back into my arms. And I was 16 years old when this happened. So at that moment, I was like, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm going to have to find another way to handle my problems. And so for almost 21 years, I have been finding another way to handle my problems, non-physically, at no risk to my freedom or to my child's safety. So that was when he was 6 months old. The second promise was when my second child was born. 7 days into him being alive, I went home from the hospital. I was in the hospital for a week after he was born. I had ended up having an emergency cesarean when he was born, and here's the thing: I was in the hospital after I had a baby, and it was just me. There was his dad wasn't there. I hadn't seen his dad since like early in my pregnancy, and so it was just me through the whole pregnancy. And I ain't gonna lie, going through pregnancy alone is traumatic AF. Okay, like it's probably one of the reasons why I only have 2 kids. I probably would have had more kids had I not had such traumatic pregnancy and parenting experiences, but they were traumatic, and so I associate being pregnant with trauma and abandonment. And so after I had my baby, I had an emergency cesarean, and then I was sick. I got sick after childbirth. Like something having the baby made me have a fever, and I couldn't get rid of it, and I was going downhill or whatever. And so I was in the hospital. So imagine after you just gave birth and had an emergency surgery. Both of those things. And then you got to advocate for your life, because there's nobody else advocating for your life, because it's just you. That was what I had to do. And so it was through my advocacy that got me out of the hospital earlier, that got me fixed. I was like, I think the medicine that y'all are giving me is making me worse condition. Get me off of these medications. They were coming in there every, on the schedule to give me the Norco. Is that what they call it? The Percocets or whatever. They were coming in there giving me the Percocets. They were giving me the other medicine that starts with the M, I think, Motrin or something. And then they had an IV in my arm giving me something else, some kind of an antibiotic, because they didn't know what was making me sick. So they were just giving me medicine. And I was like, I don't want none of this medicine. Get me off of this IV if you don't get somebody in here, because they kept on like, oh, well, okay. And I was like, after I gave birth, not even a week in, okay, I'm like this. Get this IV out of me, or I will rip it out myself. I need a doctor in here within the next hour, or I will take this out myself and go home myself. I couldn't drive home, but that's what I told them. When I talked to them like that, the doctor came in. Now, they tried to shame me into my decision. Like, they kind of tried to make me feel guilty. Like, well, we know what's best for you, and we're only taking this out because you want us to, not because what we think is the best thing for you. This and that. And I'm like, I'm fully aware. Take it out. They took the medicine out. I refused the heavy narcotics. I only took the regular over-the-counter pain medication, and my fever went away within hours. So then I was able to go home the next day. How did we get here on this? I don't remember. Oh, yeah. So the next day I went home. They discharged me from the hospital with my baby. I had to have my mom come get me from the hospital because I couldn't drive. So my mom came to pick up me and my baby from the hospital. And my older son, who was 10, he needed milk so that he could have milk for his cereal. I don't buy cereal anymore, y'all, but back then I bought cereal for my kids. He wanted milk for the cereal, so I was like, can you stop at the gas station so I could get Kayshawn some milk? And so my mom took me to the Quick Trip. I went into the gas station, and here's the thing. When you leave the hospital after you have a C-section, they tell you don't pick up anything heavier than a gallon of milk. So I went into the gas station. I'm doing the C-section shuffle. Shh, 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 shh. Walk in the way that you walk after you have a C-section, a little hunched over, shuffling along because it kind of hurts to pick up your feet. So I'm doing the C-section shuffle. Go over to the counter, and I left my baby in the car. Went to the thing to open up the cooler. I went to the cooler to open up the cooler to get the milk. Pulled out the gallon of milk, and I had a breakdown right there. I had a miniature breakdown, and I had the kind of breakdown where it's like, let me pull it right back together. But in that moment when I picked up the milk, I was like, I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids, and it's all on me to raise them and to protect them, to lead them, to guide them. It's all on me. And while I'm shielding them, there's nobody to shield me. It's just me. I got to make sure that I keep myself safe. I got to protect myself. I have to do that. And then I got to take care of my kids. To this day, that promise, I feel it like I felt it the first time, y'all. And so when I had that realization and that agreement, I just broke down. I broke down because it was like, it's not fair. It doesn't feel fair. But I'm going to do it. Don't feel fair. But I'm still going to do it. I'm going to take care of my children. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to keep them safe. I'm going to guide them, and I'm going to lead them. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing, y'all. And so, parenting, leadership parenting. I was a college student at this time. I was in college. I, of course, I took that semester off. But I'll tell you this, and again, you don't have to be a parent to be a leader, but when I came to those agreements and promises and decisions throughout life as a mother, it made me also, not be a mother to just my children. It made me be a parent to other people. And not in a way of replacing them, but it just made me feel responsible in the way that I interact and engage with people in the world. You step into that responsibility of being a leader. It doesn't just turn off and turn on, with your kids. It's when you're operating in that role and in that space, you're saying yes to a commitment, to a responsibility. And so it makes you feel that responsibility. I feel it makes you have also responsibility to humanity. And that's me. Maybe there's some people who is only about their kids only and nobody else. Maybe that's how it goes for some people. But it ain't like that for me. I would like to know what y'all feel about parenting and leadership, because I do notice that there was always when I grew as a leader, I grew as a mother. When I grow as a mother, I grow as a leader. Do y'all feel like it's like that for y'all? And I also want to know, what are some of the promises and agreements and commitments that you made specific? What are some of the things that you made, that you realized maybe when you became parents or when you became a leader? I want to know what that was for you. Last couple of things. I want to tell y'all about 2 last things. I have a book club that I host every month. It's called the Rougie Wellness Book Club. Currently, it's only in person, but eventually I would like to make it virtual if people want to join virtually. So if that is you, you got to let me know so that I actually put the effort in to including that as a virtual option. So this month we're reading this book called Black AF History, and it's so good. I want to tell y'all more about the book, but right now all I'm going to tell you is you should read it or you should listen to it. It's so good. If I'm going to tell you one thing about it right now, I'm going to tell you this. Where I'm at in the book, I'm at the chapter when his grandma was sick. But what I want you to know is the way that he goes into this book. If you're the kind of person who is books about Black history, race and slavery is too heavy. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. That's fine. I get you. I understand. I have to be choosy too. This book won't make you sad in that way. It'll make you feel empowered. It's a perspective. It gives you so much history, background, names, details, places, locations about how this country and other countries, about the worldwide history, world history. But for us, our Black people, it gives you it makes you feel powerful. it makes you feel proud. You know, like whenever we hear about slavery, we hear about it like from the perspective of, man, like our people, like our black people was kidnapped and enslaved, and it was just so sad. But in this book, it talks about more than that. It talks about like who did what first. It talks about like when we were all the different times that we revolted and uprose in this country. It talks about the way that the money comes into play, the capitalism with the colonizers. It talks about, it really breaks down and helps you really like understand and absorb the way that the slavery took place and the way that oppression. It talked about Haiti. Yesterday when I was in one of the chapters talking about Haiti, I never understood so much about Haiti, how it was formed, why it is the way it is right now, all these type of things. Like, Haiti should be thriving, but Haiti was forced to pay the enslavers money for becoming free. Like, was it the French or the British? They was like, you need to pay us back like the equivalent of like $9 million or $1 billion because of the money that we lost from losing slaves, which they consider merchandise. And then it made me also realize, like, you know what, everything is documented, if not the way that we wanted to see it documented, like with the accuracy and legitimacy, but because our people were considered property, they paid taxes on us and they had to keep logs on who bought and sold what property. So there are records, right? And so you can tell who was running away because people were buying slaves and then losing them. You could tell when we was fighting back, when we was coming back with our guns and machetes and killing people, you know, talking about how our people from Africa was not just some willy-nilly. Like, we really did grow this country and raise this country with our skills. You know what I'm talking about? Rice, and I know if you watched High on the Hog, or there was another series that talked about how we grew rice here. They couldn't grow rice. Their diseases, we were allergic to them. That's what he said in the book. There's so much rich history. We were warriors. You think that we left that warrior spirit here? Nah. They're talking about how there were enslaved people from the Ashanti and the Akan warriors who was really like organizing, setting up some stuff, you know, skilled with the machetes. You know what I'm saying? Like, chopping the masters into bits. All right, it was a lot. So read the book, talk about it in the book club. Our book club meets at the end of this month. Last but not least, I gotta tell y'all one more thing. This is random, but I have a membership at Burn Boot Camp at the gym. And my membership is coming to an end and I'm not renewing it. So I wanted to tell y'all what I'm doing in the meantime. What I like about Burn Boot Camp is that I don't have to think. I just go there. They have my workout planned out for me. I'm going to let it go, though, because I'm ready to do some stuff on my own. And so I just printed off these little, if you're on the YouTube, you can see what I'm doing. I printed off these two things, okay? This here that says a fitness workout planner. And then this is just a 1 week schedule. So what I think I'm going to do is go through here and plan out my splits, like backs, legs, arms, core, you know, cardio. I'll put that on there, on this here, so that I can look out my whole month in advance so I can make sure I'm hitting all my groups. And then with the second one, I will print these off and fill these in 4s so that I just know in advance what I'm going to do. Maybe I will do these. Maybe I'll make up my own workout when I get to the gym. But my thing is to combat me getting bored or feeling like, well, I used to go to the gym and look at my phone to pick out the workouts, and that's what made me not want to do it anymore, like on my own. But I can do it on my own now. I can make up my own workouts. I'm fine with that. But still, I believe you make a plan or you plan to fail. Plan for tomorrow, and then you'll be able to do more than if you just try to do it on the go willy-nilly without having a plan. You're not as productive and effective. So I just want y'all to know this is what I'm doing. since my regimen is going to change, I don't want it to suffer because I'm letting go of my membership at Burn Boot Camp. But that means that I will go through and I'm just going to fill these dates in so that when I look at my calendar, I'll know, oh, this is what I'm doing today. Go to the gym and do that. Even if I was to go to the gym and pull up a 45-minute back workout. I've got gym subscriptions. I've got Reset app. I have, I could even ask ChatGPT, okay, ChatGPT, here's what I want to work on. Give me the reps and sets for a 45-minute arm day workout. But ChatGPT can give me a workout, right? As long as I know what it is that I want to do. So I just want to let y'all know that's what I'm going to be doing. And if y'all want to know how it's going for me, you can ask and I'll let you know how it's going. But that's what I'm going to do for now. And then the next time that boot camp has like a $69 thing or whatever, a $99 thing for like unlimited month, I'll buy that every now and then. But I'm going to let my monthly subscription go right now. For now, maybe I'll try so I can be open to trying other things. Maybe I want to get into Pilates or something else. I don't know, but I just want to try something else for now. And I also like lifting, so I'm going to continue to do that too, okay? All right, well, that's the end, y'all. That's it. I just done talked my head off for 45 minutes. But that's it. I got to go because it is time for me to get ready to go to start working with my clients for today. So I hope you really enjoyed this podcast. If you enjoyed it and if you want more like this, of course, leave a comment. Give me a like, share, subscribe. What do they say? If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give me a 5-star rating. If you're listening on Spotify, give me a 5-star rating so that I can be recommended to more people. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe so that you can see the episodes. At this point, I don't know how often they're coming out. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't know. But if you're watching this and there's more episodes after this, then you know that I found some kind of a regular, frequent consistency. Okay? That's it, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see y'all next time.